In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove and replace this oil pan. Now, I don't actually have a new one, so I'll be putting the old one right back, but this will show you not only how to replace it, but if you need to, how to reseal it when you have a leak. Let's get started. Right over here, you see your 1/2-inch drain plug. Now, you can use a 13mm if you have to. A 1/2-inch socket fits a lot better though. Let's break it free. Okay, I'm going to grab a collection bucket, so I'm snugging it back up for a second. You want to have something to catch the fluid. If you can measure the amount that comes out, that would be ideal, because if you know you're at the full optimum level, you can put the same amount back and be spot on. Otherwise, you have to keep measuring with the dipstick, which I will show you how to do, but like I said, if you can measure this, it'll save you a lot of time and effort. Keep upwards pressure on it so that on the last thread, it doesn't shoot out. It keeps the fluid in there until you are ready to let it come out. There we go. This fluid actually looks really good. You can see it's still red, nice and transparent. If it looks black, smells burnt, or has a lot of metallic flake in it, you have serious internal damage, and you should consider servicing the internals of your transmission, but this one looks very good. Now I'm just going to wipe this area clean and put the drain plug back. At this point, you want to take your 10mm socket, go around the transmission, and remove all the 10mm bolts that hold the pan on. Start on one end, work your way to the other. I also am going to put one of the front bolts on. As you can see, the oil pan is dropping down, and I want it to be held in place. I don't want it to fall on me while I do this, so maybe I'll actually put two on. One in one corner, one on the other corner. Just a few threads. Now let's get these off. I'm going to hold the pan up, remove the bolts that I put in to hold it. Now keep in mind there is still fluid in here. When you drain it, not 100% of it will come out. Try not to splash it. Okay, drop your transmission pan straight down. And there you have it. Now that I have this on my workbench, you can see just how much fluid actually stays in the oil pan. So obviously let's drain this. We'll clean everything out. This looks very good. And we'll put a new gasket on and bolt it back up. Before I fully drain it, I'm just going to remove the gasket. That way it doesn't get in the way. And now if you had your new oil pan, you go ahead and put on your new gasket. Now you want to clean around the surface on the transmission where the oil pan bolts up so that the gasket can seal up properly. After I clean all the drippage, I'm going to degrease the surface so that the gasket can seal up completely. Take some brake parts cleaner on a clean rag and just wipe the whole surface down. Now with the area cleaned up, bring your oil pan up. Try to line up all the bolt holes on the gasket as well as on the pan. That won't happen very easily usually, but you can maneuver things around until it does line up. And as soon as you get one lined up, hold it there, start a bolt in, and that will kind of guide the rest of them for you. Okay, now don't let go because the oil pan will bend. So try to start in a bolt on the opposite side, diagonal. Once you have these two started in, then you can let go and it'll stay in place. Now I'm just going to put all the other ones in, get them started by hand so they don't cross thread. We'll bottom them out and then we'll go around and torque them. When I torque them, I'm going to make 2 passes. That way I ensure proper tightness. I don't want this to leak. Now go around, bottom them all out, make sure they're nice and snug, and like I said, we'll come back and torque them. The torque for all these bolts is 14.7 foot-pounds, 20 newton meters, or 177 inch-pounds. So I'm going to go around in a circle. I can't torque these three back here because I can't get my torque wrench in there. But once I tighten all of them, I'll just do these by hand with a ratchet. Just make sure they're nice and tight. And again, like I said, I'm going to go around twice. That way I make sure that the gasket has seated itself, has compressed, and is making a nice tight seal. The torque for this is 20 newton meters, which converts to 177 inch-pounds, or 14.7 foot-pounds. So you could round it up in this case and say 15, but I'm going to go to 20 newton meters. Right there, basically, that just means make it nice and snug. If you have any residual fluid dripping or going anywhere, make sure you clean it. That way you don't confuse that for a potential leak. Now from up top, if you look in the engine bay, all the way on the passenger side in the back, you'll see that yellow dipstick. That is for your transmission fluid. So if you go ahead and pull out the whole dipstick, you can stick a funnel in here and fill up your transmission. Now, the manual says 7.5 quarts for a drain and fill. However, I measured mine and I pulled out just under 9 quarts. So I actually will be putting back 9 quarts. Whatever you have, go ahead and put that back. Again, the manual says 7.5. You can start with 7.5 and then add from there, but I know that mine was full and for some reason 9 quarts came out, so that's exactly what I'm going to put back in. As for what fluid to use, make sure you check your owner's manual for the recommended type. This being a Ford, it'll take Mercon, and you want to use LV, Mercon LV fluid. Again, you can refer to your owner's manual for specifics. Okay, last quart. Let this drain. Once we get the funnel out of here, I'll run you through the checking procedure. Now let's get the funnel out of here. So to check the transmission fluid on this, you want to have the engine warmed. Preferably go through all the gears, or at least put it in drive and reverse first so the solenoids fill up. And then what you want to do is clean up your dipstick, leave the engine running, and make sure you're on a flat level surface. Slide the dipstick all the way down. Pull it back up. And what you're looking for, obviously my engine is not running at the moment, but what you're looking for is, as you can see over here, you have some hash marks, and you want the fluid to be within the hash marks here. Mine is over, but what you want is for it to look something like this in the middle, nice and centered right there. If you need to add more, go ahead and add a little bit. If not, if it's over full, you're gonna have to drain some. If you flip the dipstick over, you'll see that this is has a C on it. That's for cold. So if you're checking the transmission fluid with the engine cold, this is what you're measuring, but it is preferred that you check it with it hot. That way you get the best accurate measurement. Once you're done, go ahead and stick the dipstick back in and take it for a road test. What you're looking for is for it to shift correctly into drive and reverse, and make sure that it goes through all the gears and it shifts correctly. If it doesn't shift properly, double check the fluid level. It is most likely due to that.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.